Well, this is why I said what I said, because we played sometimes in games like that, and the Premier League sometimes will give you a game like that. But what I like about what he said, and Jamie was mentioning it at the end, and we were talking about it, so many times they were not patient enough on the ball. Every time they put the ball down and they try to make 3 to 4 passes to go on the right and on the left, they did open up, but they didn't do it very often. I don't know why. Obviously, the crowd, they got bullied at times. They were over them, but I think they got away with one tonight, Liverpool. But look, that's how it is. It reminds me of the other day when Arsenal won at Man United. People were talking more about Man United than Arsenal. Same thing tonight, but they managed to find a way to win it
through strength, like he said.
It looked like the referee took a little bit of convince, and he had a good look at it at the monitor, which is absolutely fine. But are you happy that it was such a wrong decision that it needed reversing? Because some people still think, even though there was a touch, it was still a penalty. Are you happy that it was almost like clear and obviously enough to reverse the decision?
Yeah, I am. I mean, we work with referees' call. It's an important principle in the Premier League where the call will be made on the field by the referee. It'll only get overturned if, when the VAR looks at the footage, he sees no reason at all to support the decision. There's no mix of considerations. It's a clear error. In this one, when you reach out with that foot, play the ball clear.
Former Arsenal FC striker Thierry Henry has weighed in on the latest refereeing controversy to grip top-level football, calling for improved accountability and consistency in officiating. The incident, which sparked widespread debate among fans and pundits, has once again raised serious questions about decision-making standards and the effectiveness of VAR. Henry did not shy away from addressing the impact of the controversial oversight, stressing that mistakes in high-stakes matches can have lasting consequences. In modern football, where margins are razor-thin and league positions are often decided by a handful of points, a single incorrect call can dramatically alter a club's trajectory. While match officials reportedly issued an apology acknowledging the error, Henry made it clear that such gestures fall short of resolving the damage done. An apology, he argued, cannot restore lost points, reverse momentum, or ease the frustration of players and supporters who feel wronged. For clubs battling for titles, European qualification, or survival, those dropped points can define an entire season. Central to Henry's comments was the need for stronger communication between on-field referees and VAR officials. He emphasized that technology was introduced to reduce clear and obvious errors, not to create further confusion. When controversial decisions persist despite video review, it inevitably erodes trust in the system. The debate has reignited broader concerns about officiating standards and transparency. Many observers believe that clearer explanations of decisions and improved consistency in applying the laws of the game are essential to maintaining credibility. As football continues to evolve, so too must its officiating framework. Henry's remarks reflect a growing demand within the sport. Accountability must go beyond apologies, and meaningful reforms are needed to ensure fairness remains at the heart of the game.